Hey guys, Ari Wintraub, your favorite Los Angeles realtor, back again, but today in Toronto, Canada, where I'm from, to do a very special interview with my dad, a career salesman for 60 years, who's going to share with us what it means to sell. And I think it's so exciting to do this because there's been a shift, a perception change in the business community about sales and salespeople. No longer is the old connotation, and now it's the new gen, the new perception of it's a career where you can set your no ceiling limit of income. You can set your hours. You can do the Tim Ferriss 4-hour work week. There's technology advancements, and the world is yours as a salesperson. So we're going to focus in on this incredible sales career that my dad has had and has inspired me to do what I do. And so without further ado, thank you for doing this. So we're going to launch into it and just start off with an introduction. Dad, what is your history and trajectory? What have you been selling and for how long?
I've been selling packaging, shipping, washroom, and janitorial supplies for over 60 years.
It's incredible.
My uncle Albert had a manufacturing of paper bags, Molson Bag and Paper, part of a big conglomerate called Acme Paper. I got a job through my uncle working at Sterling Paper. It was a distribution company of all different products. I started off for 9-10 months on the order desk. I knew nothing. I learned how to take orders, how to speak to customers on the phone, how to check files and previous orders. I generally learned the business. And 9-10 months later, they gave me a 2-door Chev gear shift, and out I went. This was in the early 60s. I was in my early 20s.
That's why I'm so excited to launch into more of this, because starting in the 1960s, we're going to, in this interview, look at what has maybe changed or hasn't changed. And so the next question, I think, would really highlight that is what selling means to you.
Selling means satisfying customers' needs.
Yeah, it's a balance, serving their needs and also guiding them with your expertise. So we know in order to fulfill a client's and a customer's needs, it takes a routine, it takes a mountain to be moved to service, deliver, close, nurture a customer. So what was your routine as a salesperson? You're your own boss. How would you hold yourself accountable? And what did that daily routine look like for you with the challenges of it that might have had and changed over the years? And what were the joys of keeping to this routine, if you can talk about that?
Years ago, when I first started selling, there were no cell phones, there was no pagers. So I would spend the first half of the day on the phone. I had customers list, I had a day book, which was my Bible. And I would follow through certain people I spoke to every Monday, every Tuesday, once a week, once a month. I would call all these people in the morning, and then I would go around in the afternoon. I had a certain routine. I did a certain areas. I wouldn't be driving back and forth every day. I slowly built that up. I was out on the road. I would knock on doors, as well as sing all my customers. I would drive different routes, looking for different customers. I would see delivery vehicles with names and phone numbers. I would follow through in any way to get a new customer.
So starting off in the 60s, young sales rep, you were beating the street, knocking on doors. And then how did you develop and form a more dependable and more mature routine? I mean, speak to what the daily format was as a salesperson.
I would organize my day. The bakeries and meat stores, for example, were my bread and butter, and I would call them early in the week, get their orders out so they'd satisfy their needs. So I would call them weekly, bi-weekly, monthly, whatever, according to their needs. And after I took an order, I would write down when to call them next, then cross it off. I would build it up, and I would carry on from there, seeing people in the afternoon after the phone calls in the morning.
Let's get more specific. You talked about a day book and a planner. Let's go back to that again. And you had a way of like focusing and doing that. So was there a quota of calls you had to make? You said that you would plan it, then set the next call. So there's all this new technology with CRMs and reminding us. But for 60 years, you had a more simple format, which was the day book. Just again, go back because I really want to kind of get that down.
Yeah, the day book had everything there. I also had in the front of it certain customers where I had their phone number because you didn't have cell phones then, so I had to be organized with people's numbers if I had to phone them. So I used the day book for that, and I would follow through with the phone calls and seeing people. I would also always say, if you know anybody that needs me, please pass it on. I would run into salespeople selling bakeries, food products. I'd always say, hi, how you doing? What's happening? How's the family? Take my card if you know any customers that might need my needs. So you're always looking in any way, anyhow, to gain new customers.
And that's what it's all about. It's not so much about the sales volume or the quotas. It's about lead generation. And for you, that was the forefront of every day. Never miss an opportunity. Never drive by a place without turning back and popping in. You're a lead generating machine, and that's what your focus was, and that's how you thrived. So let's get even deeper on that success. Talk to us. What is it that makes you a successful person? Do you think that you are a success, and why?
Satisfying customers' needs is the main thing in sales. I think I was successful because I have many customers over many years, satisfying their needs, adapting to new times, adapting to new products and new needs. Always following through with the order, because an order's not complete until it's paid for. And if it's a special, you had to follow through, get a quotation. If it's a problem, that was just as important as the sales, as to fix the problem. And I would help my boss as far as getting products, finding products. If the manufacturer's out of stock, we'd have to fulfill it somewhere else. That was all part of the sale.
So salespeople are known to be self-starters, and clearly you were, to be producing for so long. What kept you motivated for that? What drove you to wake up and produce day in and day out? Is it something that you meditated on? Today, as I might have mentioned at the start, salesmanship is more respected in the industry. There's more seminars and YouTube videos and books and content and methodology about focusing on your goals, envisioning what motivates you, what your purpose in life is. What was it for you?
Success. I always want to be successful. I love sports. I played sports. I was captains. I was in charge of different events socially, and I always wanted to succeed. So it was always that challenge to keep going, get new customers, look for new customers, satisfying people's needs, work-wise and socially.
At our company at Sotheby's, they've pointed out how many ex-professional athletes are sales associates at Sotheby's. We have Olympic snowboarders, and we have professional tennis players. And so that really does line up with what you're saying. As a competitive sports person, it would make sense that you'd be well suited. And so that's a great parlay to the next question, which you know is about nurture or nature. So you have this personality that leads you to being a salesperson, or is it being a salesperson and landing into that career that forms the personality that is going to be needed to succeed at it? What do you think?
I think I was born that way. My personality is outgoing, aggressive in a good way, I hope, And being personable, and my father always had a great sense of humor. All these things were part of my personality, and it led to sales. Because sales is satisfying people, getting to know them, getting to know their personality, joking around, not just taking an order.
And what is brilliant, I think, about sales as a career, this idea of working remote, take a laptop, work abroad, no fixed address. Sales careers are more desirable today than when you started. It is now an occupation that people can see gives them freedom, and there's no ceiling. So we talked about the nurture, and we talked about this idea that you're in sales, and that role in that duty you have. How does it impact you? So you're working as a salesperson. How has it changed and formed you, Gary, as a person by having a career as a salesman?
I think you're selling yourself in whatever you do in life. So work-wise, you're keeping customers happy, which makes you feel good about yourself. And also, friends are important to me. Family's important to me. So I enjoyed all friendships and being close to somebody in good times and in bad. Be there for other people. And as a young rabbi once told me, we all have our hand out. It's better to give than receive.
I love that. So to that, anything that you'd done different in your career?
I might have had formal education, but I also say you can't look back. And I was very satisfied and fulfilled in what I've done. And I also started collecting pins as a hobby. So I enjoyed a hobby. I enjoy the different social aspects of life and the personalities. And I believe also with friends, it's good to be friends with people. But in times of need, if someone has distress or health problems, that's the time to step up and to be there for people.
So lastly, and I think this you covered it, what advice, that you haven't shared already, and there's been some great stuff here, and so much of it I already knew and was sort of floating around, and why I wanted to conduct this interview, but to, put it all on the table and to see how it all funnels back down to the starting point of prospecting, staying in touch with people, in person or on the phone, and serving their needs. But anything that we've missed for someone else in sales, as you sort of hand over the wand and enter, full retirement, that you could say as a takeaway and advice for me?
Well, you're basically selling yourself at whatever you do. So if you, as a younger person, love something, have a passion for any interest, follow through. If that's the career you want, whatever you do, love it, want to do it, want to get up every day and look forward to it. Nothing is ever rosy all the time. Sometimes you create your own problem. Sometimes you have a problem which isn't yours, but it's your problem because it's your customer. So you have to satisfy it, whatever way it is. You got to help out with purchasing because of the COVID. We had restrictions and companies weren't producing. So we had to fill it and buy elsewhere. So you have to do whatever you can. You can't always rely on the office or the salespeople or the office. You got to rely on yourself, whatever you do. And if you do create a problem, you got to take a deep breath, pick yourself up, and get going.
Love it. Yeah. All right. Thank you.
Thank you, my son. All right. That's great.